There is this very dangerous pattern that I noticed in many relationships. And whether you're actually in a long term relationship, marriage, or you're actually in the early dating phase, many women, they position themselves actually as the mother, the coach, the therapist, and they actually make men as their project, that he needs to be fixed, that he needs to, be directed, guided, educated, whatever. And this is actually a very dangerous pattern because it really kills the relationship in many ways, okay? So what happens is that many women, they position themselves on a higher ground, even if they don't fully realize it yet. But when they see that they have to be the one guiding, helping, supporting the man in different ways, they are actually positioning themselves as this higher ground, and then they actually also start to lose respect and even attraction to the man. So what happens is that usually when a woman they get into a relationship and or in the dating phase. But let's talk about the relationship first because when a woman is in a relationship and the relationship starts to degrade, as in the attraction is gradually losing, then there are more and more conflicts, then the man becomes more and more checked out, etc., etc. Actually, what happens is that then the woman, because they cannot trust the other person to take the lead and fix things, and because women are wired, their brains are wired to take care of the connection's quality, they will start to fixate a lot on fixing the relationship. And because they cannot trust the other person to take the lead and do so, they start to take the lead. And then they start to assume, oh, this man is clueless, he's not very capable, etc., etc. Then I have to take the lead, I have to lead him. He's just not like as capable as me, as intelligent, even if you don't really think this directly. It is what might happen in your subconscious. And that is a very dangerous place. So sometimes I did hear of some of my friends when they shared about their relationships, their situationships. Situationships are those limbo relationships where the commitment is a bit ambiguous and they are not quite official, or they were once official and then they are not official anymore. And the way they talk about this man as if, oh, he's not as spiritual, like has spiritually evolved and all those things. And it is actually a very icky energy. And because they are like positioning themselves as superior and the man inferior. And men also might do this too. But today we are talking about women, okay? Because I'm teaching women right now. And then with this energy, you're not going to respect him. Deep down, you're losing attraction day by day. Because when you get involved with a man, your brain produces a lot of oxytocin and all those, fluffy hormones so that you get attached to him. But now, as your attraction goes down and down and down, now this oxytocin might also be start to be blocked with all the stress, with all the cortisol, because you're fixating on fixing the relationship. So you're chronically stressed. And then you're blocking all this closeness, attraction, and you start to do certain things that will turn him off and turn him away even further. Because now you are mothering him. Now you are more compelled to give unsolicited advice, unsolicited requirements. You're trying to give him direction of what he could be doing, etc., or what you need and what he should be doing. You might even over convince him, over explain to him. You might chase after him. Like your energy is very like, and with this energy, the other person would, man or woman, just want to run. Like they might, some men, if they are like in very strong in their masculine, and if they are not mature enough, they might butt heads with you. They might fight you. They might, be competing with you. And the male brain, often what happens is that the moment their switch of competing of competitiveness is on, then they will go into this competing mode where the objective is not fixing the situation anymore, but actually win the argument. And well, you can read the book called The Male Brain and another book called The Female Brain. And I don't remember how to pronounce the name of the author, but do read it. It's very good. And so when you're triggering the competitiveness in his male brain, you already lost him because now your female brain wants connection. You're fighting for desiring more connection. But he is already like gone. His brain is not about connection, but about competing. Okay. So what happens is that he might try to fight you. Okay. Or he might feel turned off and then more and more checked out. And he wants to rebel. Either he gets defensive or he gets checked out more and more. So this is also what actually creates lots of avoidant behaviors in the relationships. And of course, that is not justified. Like the proper communication and no ghosting is still important, but it is what it is, okay? It is important to understand that in many men, it creates the avoidant behaviors because many men, their coping mechanism, especially if they are not mature or have the necessary relational skills, they just check out and then they just eventually disappear more and more. And if they are in a long-term relationship, marriage even, they might just become this passive husband, boyfriend. So at the end of the day, no one wins because usually this pattern is that the woman becomes more and more like she mothers, she criticizes, she controls, she takes even more the lead, she criticizes even more. Then one day, because the bonding through oxytocin just eventually runs out from your system because you don't have oxytocin like production towards him anymore. Then one day this attachment also ends, and then many women, that is why when they decide to finally separate, break up, divorce, it is often sounds like very cold and harsh and final. It's because of how this works, okay? So at the end of the day, if there's this dynamic going on, and the woman is often feeling that he is superior to the man in one way or another, he is already walking towards the killing of the relationship. So it is very important to be aware and catch ourselves and understand that it is not that you might be superior or inferior. It might not be the man who is clueless, because he might be clueless or oblivious, but you might be as well. And just because you think in a certain way that, oh, things should be like this and this and this, he also have his own ideas, but it's just your coping mechanism is to go after him to, want to fix things together, while his coping mechanism is to check out. So both sides can as well have a very valid perspective. It's just the way we deal with issues might be different and in need of improvement. So what's important here is that you try to, don't go after him, don't chase after him, because the more you do that, the more the other person runs, because no one likes to have, all that critical, oh, I am superior than you energy coming at them. They will subconsciously be able to tell. Then they will feel the need to defend themselves or even rebel against the situation. And even if they deep down want connection, that might be how they feel the need to defend themselves and to run away. Okay, so you first need to fix the emotional foundation of the relationship, which is to create more emotional safety, and then also ways of bringing back the masculine and feminine polarity attraction. And only then you can start to have certain talks, certain improvements, because by then he will start to have more receptivity. Like when the emotional safety is there, when there is like attraction from masculine feminine polarity, then he will feel more receptivity and openness to, talk with you, talk about the problems, and he will feel safer to do so. He won't need to feel the need to, be defending of his own rights, his own needs and desires as well. And he will feel more compelled to work things out together. So, if you find this useful, if you find this information really interesting, my name is Monica and I am the teacher and mentor at Blooming Feminine Academy. So, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.